Okay then, Helldivers, we are back. We've got a brand new major order taking us over to the Illuminate sector with the pure definition of a filler MO, while they're obviously fixing the rest of the game. We also have a diving into the development team article where Production Director Alex Bolle was actually interviewed with regards to a load of things inside of the game and how the development team are actually structured. So we're going to give you guys a breakdown on that one, and the Baskinator has updated the info with regards to the propaganda commanders, so we're going to see what that's all about as well. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful like button and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. Make sure you check out our incredible sponsor, Instant Gaming, the platform where you can get your video games cheaper for PC and console with the best deals, offers, promotions, and discounts, all running up to 70% off on old and new games alike. Links in the description for that one, and if you also want to get involved with our giveaway, we're giving away super credits to those of you guys who want them. If you want to get involved with it, it's very simple. Head down to the comment section and put in a salute in that comment section. We'll announce that one at some stage this week. With that being said, let's dive into the game and see what's happening right now inside of Helldivers 2. So starting off, we managed to get a new major order briefing coming from Super Earth High Command, and this one was after 2 days of a major order not actually making its way into the books at any point. This one states right here that the liberation of Osheune, one of the Terminid Hive worlds responsible for the production of the Gloom, was an incredible triumph, but the prolonged campaign into the Gloom has come at a cost. Much as Super Earth remains in ruins, our citizens deserve to be ignored no longer. The time has come to place humanity first. The reconstruction of York Supreme has been ordered to commence post-haste. The last and greatest of the York was invaded and bombed to ruin by the Illuminate during their invasion of Super Earth. It will be restored to its former glory and more. Super Earth megacities are spectacular megalopolises, constructed over the course of centuries. The rapid reconstruction of one is a demanding undertaking and will demand massive quantities of construction materials. Andar and Asperoth Prime contain large and mostly untapped reserves of limestone, iron ore, and gravel. Permits have been issued for the rapid extraction and protections of the unique biodiversity and natural wonders that exist atop those reserves have been removed. However, one threat remains. Illuminate forces have been observed moving rapidly towards these planets. The enemies will stop at nothing to maintain the brutal destruction they inflicted upon Liberty's heart. The Helldivers are ordered to hold Andar and Asperoth Prime until extraction of sufficient materials is complete. And this is an interesting one, as it's essentially a 7-day hold major order, which is a little bit wild, but we're going to show you guys the galactic map now so you understand it a bit more. So as we can see on the Galactic War table right now, the two planets we want to secure are Andar and Asperoth Prime, of which have 2 locations of interaction. We can see right here that Shetty is obviously on the latest of the defenses with a level 26 for the next 22 hours. This will obviously lead through into Keed and then over to Asperoth Prime, whilst on the other side of the table we have Alaraf, which has a level 40 defense currently, leading into Alathfar and then obviously over to Andar. At this point in time, it would have made more sense to get the Gambit from Oasis, which is at a 0.7% resistance, to clear this off and leave that gap there, meaning that there was only really Genesis Prime that could lead back into the battle while we dealt with the opposite side over here. This would have been probably a better off movement instead of the way that it's actually gone, which is that Shetty is getting majority of the approach right now alongside a few thousand over on Alaraf, trying to fight against a level 40, which is wild. But yeah, we have to hold Andar and Asperoth Prime till the major order expires in 7 days' time. Let me know what you guys are thinking of this major order. For me, this screams filler. I was kind of hoping the filler content would come from the automatons. The main reason for that is that the enemy units over on the Illuminates are pretty lackluster. We have no sub-factions making up the numbers, and those added extra ones are pretty much only on the mega cities, being the Leviathans and the little shooting turret eyeballs. Other than that, there's about 5 or 6 units totaled, so I would have kind of liked a sub-faction to pop up from somewhere. Nonetheless, though, we've got some more to dive into, as they also posted up the Diving into the Development Team Part 1. A production director, Alex Bolle, was interviewed with regards to how it is that they approach the game from the more development standard. The first question that they actually ask him is, what is it that the production role actually is? And the comment to it was actually really, really funny for me. It states, what do we do with the features that we have in mind, with improvements that we want for the game in a clear timeline with the people we need to make it happen, and make sure that this is released on time and in a state that we know we need to be better at. So that for me was probably the biggest break-in to a interview that I've ever seen in my life, mainly because their timings are absolutely awful, to be completely honest. Arrowhead's timelines are never really to schedule, and they don't normally keep it up to a decent standard. That's the only thing that they're really, really bad at, is the communication levels. That's just my personal 2 cents. But this next one right here is that timing and the cycles in the major updates are something that everybody gets excited about. How do you look at that internally? Now, to break this one down a little bit, he essentially says that there has been some changes over the time period, and sometimes it's a bit like a recipe. It's a little bit too salty, or sometimes it needs more salt. Sometimes they want it more spicier, and they essentially talk in a load of different metaphors. It was really strange, to be completely honest. But what they stated that was that listening to the players, we realized as a team that there was more to it than just adding in content. We're changing our approach. Some initiatives are all about cleaning our live features, introducing quality of life. We're in the early stages of this, but so far when I look at the future arcs, it's promising and something I'm eager to let the community taste. Now, this was quite intriguing for me, because essentially it says that what they're doing for the future is nothing like we've experienced up until this point, and the way that they approach their new arcs are a little bit different to what we've had for the last year and a half. That for me is a welcome change. I'm really excited to see what it is that they actually do with that one. Let me know if you guys could add anything into the way that they initiate their new arc stories. What would it be? For me personally, I'm excited to see what they've got in their arsenal and how it is that they actually issue it. The next question states right here though, so if we look at that, there's some progress that you and the team have been making towards the hardening. Tell me more about that. Now, this one was a interesting one if you are interested in the more development process of how things actually operate, as they are pretty much more focusing away around the way that they actually work the end part of each development process before the game actually releases. They're working at making sure they refine these problems and the issues and addressing everything and looking for more problems before they release more goodness to the players. But for the longest time, their features would be considered ready and implemented in the release build at the very last minute. We're working with the team to stop that. We use the term functional as a minimum standard for when features should be in the game. For example, the Hive Lord as functional was a very rough version of what players experienced. So as much as it kind of sounds like that's all just their own terminology of how they're operating it behind the scenes, for us players, it looks like a really good thing, because realistically, it means that they may actually have the definition between functional and finished, and then be able to find the definition in between that when they actually release the content to you. And then finally, they go to ask how it is that the development team are actually structured. So what areas they're actually looking into, and they actually call them areas. So we have meta, which is essentially like the galaxy system. They define the rules, and that's where Joel genuinely resides. We have the game world, which is essentially the world builders, the talented people that create new biomes like the Hive worlds, and the missions that Helldivers will accomplish over the due course of time. Essentially right now, apparently they've got the hottest stuff cooking, but they need to fix the rest of the game before they can get that in order, so we won't see that for a little while. We obviously have the area of combat. These are the enemy types that you guys know and love, the firepower that stomps these things out and so forth. And then we have another area called the tech platform. Now, they're running the game engine and the tools that the rest of the developers will use. And then we have the Ministry of Truth. The marketing and communication area is pretty self-explanatory as to what that is, but yeah, they are marketing and communication. Now, I can actually only imagine that inside of those areas are like subcategory areas where they'll have smaller teams working on different area parts. But yeah, overall, it's quite an interesting way to look at the development team. Still doesn't really tell us much about the game, though, in terms of what it is that they're doing and what's changing. So they are going on to release the engine blog post at some stage, but the engine team are actually working on both the engine itself and another blog post to tell us what's going on with it. And as a brief one, the Baskinator added up this page right here into the Discord. For those of you guys who are content creators, if you do want to join the Propaganda Commanders, the rules have been put up here as to what it is that is expected. And for the most part, it's actually really easy to adhere to, because majority of it is just being a good person. That's literally is all it is. And as much as some of it does read the way that it reads, You can say what you like about the company and about the game itself. So don't ever bend to that basis. Make sure you stay true to yourself when it comes to what you believe inside of a game. And that's generally all I have to say about it. Nonetheless, so unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful like button, subscribe, post notifications turned on. Thanks again for watching, guys. And as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.